I think we can get started. We're really delighted to see all of you here and that you made the effort to come out on a rainy Monday evening for this. It's very exciting for us to try and start a conversation with as many different groups as possible that relates to multilingualism. I looked over the registration list before we came here, and there was a real mix. So there were lots of students and researchers, but also education workers, teachers, parents, somebody who works with asylum seekers, an interpreter, a counselor, even a chef. I hope the chef is here. So it's exciting for us because we're trying to move beyond the walls of the university and hear more about what people are doing in the community in very different multilingual situations and relate it to different kinds of research that we do. This event also marks the launch of an initiative that we're starting at Queen Mary, and I'll just say a quick word about that initiative. It's really just the beginning of it now, so the website is quite just basic information to start with. So we're calling it Multilingual Capital, to kind of think of multilingualism as a resource in London. And as you can see from the website, we want to engage with communities to accurately represent the diversity and richness that we find in London, to increase the visibility of multilingualism, and to share ideas. So even though people are in very different communities and feel like they have very unique issues, in many cases you might have interesting solutions and activities that would be very useful to another community. So sharing these kinds of practices, sharing research findings on multilingualism, which we'll try and do a little bit today in our discussion, and create knowledge as well. So hear about what goes on in the community and start new projects that document diversity in London and beyond. This is just a beginning conversation today, and if you can, it would be really nice if you keep in touch with us, even if it's just a suggestion or a question, or you want to be involved in a more substantial way. That would be great to know as well. Esther and I are the initial contacts, so if you email either of us with any thoughts. Eventually we want the website to have a lot more information for you, so we'll have links to a blog that we already run, we'll have information and research reports, we'll link, as I said, to interesting practices in different communities and events and activities across communities. We'll have an Ask a Linguist or Ask a Question interactive form where we'll post responses to the kinds of questions that come up, and of course list events and activities. So do feed in, because we're just now thinking about the scope of what this initiative could have, and your input would be very helpful in knowing what's relevant. So let's move on to our main program for this evening, and what we've planned is as follows. So we're going to first hear very short talks from the 5 panel members that we have, just about 5 minutes or so, just to get an idea of different issues that either we work on or that are relevant for multilingualism. So they'll be really short and just quite general. Then we'll have a short break for refreshments around 7 o'clock, just 10 or 15 minutes. And when we come back, we'll have a panel discussion as a group. And you might remember that we tried to design it a little bit like question time or any questions, where we get questions from you and try and address those questions in our conversation. You might remember, rather than having you put on the spot to ask questions that come to your mind right now, we asked you to submit questions when you registered. So we've taken those questions and put them together, and so we're going to have quick discussions about lots of different questions that we got from all of you, and we'll hope to get to all of them. If we don't, we're going to put responses and thoughts up about each question on the website, so you can always go and read some more once those are up. And then because of the time constraints, we're not going to open up for discussion with each question. The panel will discuss the questions you submitted, and at the end we'll try and keep 10 or 15 minutes for all of you to give closing thoughts or comments that you have that might have been triggered from the discussion that we had. So we'll end with your comments. So I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'm going to hand over to Erez Levon, who's going to be our moderator for this evening, keep us to time, and introduce the panel briefly. So, Erez.